Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning meet of IndiaNivesh. This is Mehul Kothari from the research desk. Today is 2nd March 2020. Well, it was a disastrous week for the domestic markets wherein the benchmarks collapsed in all five trading sessions. Initially, the index started the week on a pessimistic note following the negative global cues. As the week progressed, it tumbled almost 900 points from its previous week close to end near 11,200 mark. The Nifty lost more than 7% during the week went by, which was the worst performance in the past few years, whereas Nifty Bank Index performed relatively better as it lost around 6%. The overall market breadth remained extremely weak throughout the week. On the sectoral front, if we see all the group indices ended with heavy loss due to broad-based selling, but and the volatility index VIX surged by more than 35% during the week to end near 23 mark. Among the losers, Nifty Metal and Nifty Media stocks were the worst performers. They plunged by around 9 to 10% during this week. The broader market indices also like Nifty Mid Cap 100 and Nifty Small Cap 100 ended with a cut of more than 6% each. So now technically the SGX Nifty is indicating that there is a possibility of bounce. So we feel that on the downside also 11,200 to 11,090 odd level, which is a previous swing low, could act as a support for the market. So unless that support is not broken, there is a possibility of bounce. But for that, at least in today's session, Nifty need to close above 11,300. So once it closes above 11,300, then a sharp short covering could be there because the FI long and short ratio is almost near to 10%, which is the lowest in the past few years. So there could be a possibility of short covering, but up till 11,500 to 11,600, then we'll have to wait and watch whether the Nifty sustains at higher levels or not. So as of now, it's wait and watch, because even if we reach higher levels, the trend has turned negative and we are still in a sell on rise market. So we'll have to wait and watch. With regards to Bank Nifty, if we see, Bank Nifty has been outperformer in this past week and it has not reached the support of 29,000. So today also, if it does not break 29,000 and it sustains about 29,400, then one can buy Bank Nifty with a stop loss of 29,000. The upside target is 30,000. Again, if it breaches 29,000 in a day or two, then further fall towards 28,000 cannot be ruled out. With regards to stocks like HDFC Bank, Reliance and SBI should be bought in case of this bounce, but that too very short term, and we need to book profits at higher levels. So that's it on the technical front. I'll hand it over to Mr. Dharmesh Kant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning all. So one more case of death has been reported in the US. So number of deaths in the US from coronavirus in the last 3 days has been two patients. Though they are maintaining a stand that nothing more to worry about it, they would be able to control it. At the same time, precautionary measures have been taken by them. This morning, despite a weak opening, most of the Asian indices are trading in green as of now, and so is the US index futures, which is back into green. Some short covering rally may happen, and one thing has to be very clear from here is if the market bounces back and this bounce sustain for 2 3 days, irrespective of the level which is there, the sustainability of this bounce will totally depend on virus coronavirus, what it is doing in the last 3 days. So for next few days, if there is nothing catapulting impact or cascading impact of this virus, that means situation is fully under control. So this will reverse, and levels will come and go, the market will rally from here on. The only thing which can derail this bounce back is if coronavirus aggravates further. So today, tomorrow, and maybe Wednesday will be critical. If this 3 days no negative news flow is there, then I think this coronavirus-led correction has been done away with. It was more than what was being warranted. It was just an anticipation that because of this virus, people won't go to work. There is no disruption in the work activity. The disruption is because of human loss or fear that human loss will be there. People may not go to work, which has not happened in any other continent except China. China, as per Apple statement, 85% is back to again production. So it's almost kind of a normalcy situation returning back in China. Apart from that, other countries, more of a noise and fear is there. So that is what is fundamentally where it stands. And if you look at valuation, so whatever correction was needed for valuation perspective, it's already there in the price, and a couple of percentage point here and there will not impact because a larger issue has cropped up. So let's see how next 3 days of news flow is there. GDP data came, but I think there is no sense in looking at that GDP data because most of the numbers were revised, and this is the biggest failure of this government. Every time they change the number, and every time the suspect is there. Like last 2 quarters, GDP numbers were upgraded by 60 basis point. None, I mean, in the history of India, no government has done this except this government, which has been repeatedly, playing with the numbers. So I think some sanity should prevail there. Changing the numbers so frequently, that too on GDP, where every entire world is watching your number, and in 30 days, 50 days, what, how you change your numbers? So even they don't have an explanation. They have not given the explanation why it has been changed. So though optically the numbers reported are good, so look at it. What I would like to suggest is play for this bounce and have your stop losses in place. The levels which which I pointed out will become relevant if there is a negative news flow coming into the market on the coronavirus account. If it escalates from here, then you just don't know where the bottom will be. But how the things are happening, the news flows we are doing the round, it looks like that this is now done away with. So that is all from Maran. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.